Hi and welcome. Day 3 of the inquiry, and we see the neonatal expert witness for the defence questioning the inquiry itself. Now, this witness sat through the case, and the inquiry chairperson is a High Court judge, Lady Thirlwell, and she has criticised, and it seems like a politically correct thing to do, to criticise anybody who's criticising the Lucy Letby convictions, saying things like, oh, they haven't sat through the case. Well, this neonatal expert witness sat through the case, was prepared to give evidence at any point, and for whatever reason, defence did not call him. He never gave evidence in court. So he is an expert who sat through the case, and he's written to Lady Thirlwell saying that there are certainly questions and that the conviction is unsafe. They're going to ignore this, I'm sure, because, as I mentioned already, the whole premise of the inquiry has been set up completely wrong. And not only in my view, but many other people, the Court of Appeal have got it completely wrong. So judges are very well educated, sometimes very clever people. Doesn't mean they can't get things wrong, the same as doctors. We can all make mistakes. And what's happening here is a party line. Don't even mention Lucy Letby's name. It's a Thirlwell inquiry, not mentioning the person who's allegedly killed babies. That would be too terrible to use her name. So why are we having it called a Thirlwell? Is it a proper inquiry? Clearly it's not. And clearly Lady Thirlwell's, she's in a difficult position. She's got a job. She's told what to do. But she's doing it wrong, going to get it wrong. There will be a wrong conclusion to this. And we have experts presenting medical information. For example, the insulin deaths. It's come out a lot more late in the whole trial, questioning whether it was exogenous. Was it insulin from outside the body injected in, or was it a body's response producing its own insulin? And the relationship with C-peptide. These are complex aspects of body's biochemistry, and it would be fair to look at all possibilities. But very simply and clearly, the lab results said these are not to be treated as conclusive. Do not use these as evidence, and they are using them as conclusive evidence, even though that lab and those machines are restricted and not able to really differentiate between insulin from inside the body and outside the body exactly. So there we have an expert presenting evidence. I've been asked as an expert witness for the Metropolitan Police in the Constance Martin case to say that babies sleeping in a tent are likely to die from the cold in an English winter, when all around the world there are millions of people sleeping in colder climates, in tents, in poor conditions and homeless, and it's not necessarily going to kill babies. Babies are kept warm with their mothers in the case of Constance Martin. The point I'm making, though, is that the fishing of the police to get the right expert witness, and that's what they've done in this case. So I was rejected because I gave a reasonable reply that there's no evidence babies would die in a tent in an English winter. So they went fishing for other expert witnesses, and they still failed in their convictions, only to say she birthed outside the system. And that's subject for a separate video podcast and book about Constance Martin and her partner. The parents who tragically lost their baby whilst grieving are put in jail on remand, even though there's no proper sentence. That will be next year. So not having a sentence is a sentence. Not having evidence is evidence. So this Thirlwell inquiry doesn't have proper evidence being put before it, doesn't have expert witnesses like the one who's written to them. It's having the ones they're choosing to go along with their narrative. Let's see, what does day 4 bring?